Bumming with Bob. Let's have a few brews. We'll have some fun with the bum wine crew. So kick your feet up and grab you a beer. 'Cause damn, man, I'm glad that you're here.
All right. This is Bumwine Bob welcoming you to an all-new edition of Bumming with Bobcat. And joining us on the show this week is, well, she's an adult performer, a retired competitive athlete, porn director, swinger club owner, fitness trainer, wedding planner, podcaster, blogger, you name it. She pretty much does it all these days. It's Miss Coralyn Jewel is with us today. Coralyn, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me. How are you doing, darling?
I'm doing great. I'm going to be doing even better now in a second as soon as I crack this can open. So I'm ready to rock and roll.
Step ahead of you. Mine's already open after my last hour. I just told you that.
Yeah. Well, I had a little pre-game action before, but I was like, little peek behind the curtain. You know, it's always the fancy, pop the top on the can as you start recording. Well, I mean, let's get started. What are you drinking tonight? What's on tap for you?
Not very exciting, I have to tell you. It's only because I own a swingers club, and when people leave alcohol and beer here, I drink it. So it's a Coors Light.
hey, nothing wrong. I cracked open a PBR, so I'm not drinking anything too fancy tonight either. So
yeah, I'm a blue moon girl. I like my blue moons.
You can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with that. And the free beer is the best beer. So if it's left there, hey, there's no shame. It's like, okay, what did they leave behind here? Okay, here's a Coors Light. I'll crack it open. Why not?
This is why I run a swingers club. So I get all the leftover alcohol at the end of the night.
It's the perks of the job, as I say. So.
Exactly. Oh my God. People would think there'd be other perks, but no, it's like, what alcohol did you guys leave? Oh, there's leftover cookies and people brought chocolate. Awesome.
I was going to say, nobody wants to really hear the details of really what goes on behind the bedroom door there. It's like, what's the other activities that go on in the swingers club? There's games, there's, pin the tail on the donkey, there's beer, right? There's snacks. It's like, is somebody bringing the the queso dip today? I mean, what's on the menu?
Right, exactly. Oh my goodness, it's an interesting world I live. That's for sure.
And I was going to say, when I'm running down the list of everything you do, and I'm sure I probably missed a few in the process there, because you're a very, very, very busy person. So I mean, where? Well, I was going to say, well, you said you're a Blue Moon person. Now, I wanted to ask you, because this is something new that came across to me. I just had this past weekend. Have you had the new, the light Blue Moon, the light sky, the tangerine one?
No, I have not. Is it supposed to be like a lower calorie one?
Yeah. It's like the 90. Yeah, it's like the 90 calorie alternative. Okay. I finally had one this past weekend, and it's not bad. It's not as flavorful as a real Blue Moon. And it does have a little bit of a different flavor because of the tangerine, I guess, instead of the orange. I mean, they're very similar. I mean, it's not too much of a difference. But I guess for people out there that are, watching those few extra calories.
Yeah. I used to be a sugar-free Red Bull vodka girl. That was my drink, and that really was my drink. But when you end your night, that keeps you awake all night, but then you can't sleep at all.
Right. I had the same conversation too with somebody this weekend, and we were saying that that's kind of a drink you have to really start your night with.
Yes.
And say, okay, you're going out for a long night of partying. You want to get the pregame going. That's when you crack open the Red Bull and vodka.
You just have to stop it at 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't think you should still be doing Red Bull vodka.
No. I mean, unless you don't plan on sleeping, then keep going. But if you start that at 4 or 5 o'clock, and then by 8 move on to something else, then you might be in a good place. But yeah, going all night with quite a few of them, it's not going to end well.
Yeah, no, it's and I can hold my alcohol. I used to manage a strip club, so I could do all the shots that the guys would buy, and so I'll just keep on drinking, and before I know it, I'm like, oh my God, I can't sleep.
Well, yeah, when it's that. Otherwise, it's the other option of you lay down and then the room's spinning and you're like, okay, this is a bad idea.
Yeah. Don't ever want to go down. That's the not fun feeling for sure.
Yeah.
I was just talking to the girl that I just interviewed for my podcast, and she, I don't smoke pot. I don't care if people do. I've tried. I just can't do it on my own. But I asked somebody to give me an edible to help me sleep, and they told me to chew the whole thing. I only took a half, and I was so high. Every time I laid in my bed, I thought my ceiling fan was going to eat me. My teeth were green. There were spiders all over my body, and I didn't sleep at all. I was like, this is awful.
This was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done this. Yeah.
So.
And some people are like, no, it's great. Do it. And it's like, you're like, oh, okay, should have not done that. That was a bad idea.
It was a bad idea. And I ran into that person and they were like, do you remember me? And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you. Mm-hmm. I remember you very well.
Yeah. Not doing that again though. So
exactly. Jesus. So.
Yeah, no, it's just crazy because I know that the amount of things that you do, and I mean, I guess I'm trying. I mean, since you're so wide open,
aren't you?
Yeah, I pretty much am. I'm like, because I could do like the usual thing of, okay, how did you get into the business, or what's your favorite part of it? But I mean, I guess let me leave it up to you. I mean, where do you think is the best spot for you to start? Just kind of breaking down everything you do.
Well, okay, so I guess like when people say to me, how like. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, you see. Okay, nice. He's throwing it on me, you guys. You see how that is? I was a competitive Olympic figure skater. Okay, and my entire life was focused around that. And so a lot of my story is how do you go from Olympic figure skater to married to divorce to webcamming, working in the adult industry as a director, and then flopping to the other side and being a performer, dancer, strip club owner, then starting your own swingers club, and then a wedding planner, and then writing a book, putting it all together in a book, and then it becomes an international bestseller, and then you're now being told you should do a podcast, and then now I'm a writer and I'm writing the second book and a documentary, and what else am I doing? Oh, and then I developed a CBD personal lubricant. And so it's like my whole story is like when life throws you these curveballs, it's like, where do you take them and what do you do with them? And, what obstacles did I get challenged with along the way to put me where I am, which is now, holy crap, motivational speaking. So I travel and I teach, I do seminars and educational courses. I write for different sex positive platforms. I do a sex positive podcast. And I'm a lifestyle coach now. So I coach people in the swinger lifestyle community about what not to do. I teach people don't do the mistakes that I made.
Right. Don't go down this road. Take that turn instead.
Yeah, exactly. Because, when I was married, I always say that I think I still would have been married to my husband if we had the guidance that I offer people now. We didn't have that then. And so we made major mistakes that cost us a 14-year marriage with 2 kids, So, but yeah, so that's, that's kind of my life.
That's the Cliff Notes rundown.
That is
version.
Exactly. But it's that's like what I was saying. So I just interviewed somebody for my show, and my podcast is all about breaking the misconceptions of people that are all in the swinger lifestyle community or BDSM community, or people that are in the adult industry, that we're not all drug addicts, we're not all didn't finish high school and didn't get a college degree. And it's interesting because the people that I interview, the one that I just interviewed was she was in the Air Force. She served in the Air Force for 4 years. Has a college degree in something I've never even heard of, like physiology with the, it's crazy, and then became a porn star because she says she likes to fuck. I was like, wow, all right.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, you like it, and you're gonna get paid and make money off of it, and go for it.
Goes to show you. It goes to show you. And then another one that I interviewed, she was a medic in the Army for 6 years, and she's 1 year away from being a cardiologist. And she's like the gangbang queen of the industry.
Right. It's funny. It's like I said, it's the misconception that people have of the industry. And I've talked to so many people over the years of doing my show that they all have the same, like a similar story of like, oh yeah, they were in the Army, they were doing this, they had some other job and have a college degree. So it's not like people, and I think the industry has kind of started to overcome a lot of that stigma over the last couple decades, but you still get some people that are still kind of focused on the dark side of it.
Right. And I mean, that's with the swinger lifestyle community too. I mean, that's, why I write articles and bring guests on in that as well, because people think that They think that I walk around with a bell at 11 o'clock at night and I like ring the bell and I go, all right, everybody close off. Penis is out, vagina is open. Let's get started. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not like that. So, it's whatever we can do to just educate one person at a time through the seminars, through the podcast, the writing, whatever it may be. It's crazy though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, it's never a dull moment for you. I mean, especially when you're managing all this stuff, you're trying to keep up with everything. You're trying to keep your own personal life in check while managing everything else that you do. So hey, I give you a ton of credit for it.
It's a lot. And I used to be able to, when I was younger, I could breastfeed one kid while I was emptying the dishwasher and, having a phone call. And now, no ways. One thing at a time. I cannot multitask anymore. So everything has to be written down one at a time.
Right. So I got to get on the schedule. Okay. All right. From 4 to 5. Okay. We're doing this 5 to 6. That. Okay. Here's a 15-minute break in between. And okay. Now 6 p.m.
I even have to write in there. Like today, you put the laundry away. The laundry's in the dryer. Don't forget about it. Don't forget it's in the washer. Like right now, actually, the laundry's in the washer. I have to go switch that. See?
Yeah. Yes. And okay. Once we're done here today, okay, make sure to get that laundry out.
Exactly. One thing at a time. And I call my mom and I apologize. I tell her I'm sorry that I yelled at you when you said you forgot things because I understand now. I get it.
Yeah. When you have that much on your plate, it's easy to start forgetting things. And even if it's something as trivial as the laundry, because I mean, we've all been there when you're laying in bed at night and you're like, crap, I did not take that out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I guess how did you take that turn from competitive, figure skating to the adult industry? I mean, is it something that you had always had a thought of doing, or is it like the switch flipped one day or somebody brought it up to you and said, hey, you should do this?
Nope, it's the craziest thing. I mean, it's like, I grew up, like I said, when I grew up figure skating, I didn't have sex. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke because my life was skating and I wanted to, go to the Olympics. And I got injured when I was 18 years old and kind of, was like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? Because I just knew I couldn't, you can only pop so many ibuprofen to try to handle the pain. And so, I got my theater degree and I got married and moved to Sweden with my husband. And when we came back, it was I actually opened a mobile fitness company for children. So I coached ice skating in Sweden. So I was still in the ice skating world, but just not as a competitor. Came back to the United States, to California, and opened my fitness company for kids. And then 2008, the housing market hit or crashed. And that was when all my home daycares where I was traveling to and teaching these fitness classes, they started closing because parents were losing their jobs and their homes. And so they were pulling their kids out of daycare. And that, I always tell my ex-husband, it's his fault that I'm in the porn industry. It is because I was taking a bath and he came into my bathroom and he said, how's the fitness company going? And I said, it's not going good. Because I was losing all this business. And he says, well, girls sell their underwear online. And I was like, gross. No, they don't. And how do you know that? And that led to the next day me getting on the internet and I typed in buy juicy panties and I was like, no shit, they really do. And so I went down to Ross and I bought underwear and came home and took photographs and built a website and put my ad on Craigslist and sold $400 in a day. Husband comes home and I said, look what I did. And he's like, are you freaking kidding me? I was joking. And I was like, oh, well, I made $400. And he said, keep going. So there you go.
Yeah, don't stop now. People are buying, sell.
And then that's where it all, everything went from there. I started dancing at a strip club when I was 35. Never danced in my life. I was an ice skater. I started modeling at 30. Got a job. I had a degree in theatrical production. So I got on a site called Sexy Jobs to look for modeling jobs and got hired as a director on a porn set. And when I was on the porn set, the girls were making, a decent amount for each scene. And I was making crap for driving all the way to LA and being there all day dealing with them. And so the male talent was like, you should be a porn star. And I was like, no ways, I'm 30. I think I was 36 years old at the time. And he's like, yeah, but you were better than her. And I was like, you know what? Okay, screw it. I'll do it. And there you go. So yeah, I never would have imagined in a million years that I would be where I am right now. When I wrote my book, that was somebody that came to me and said, I heard about your story. You should write a book. And I was like, I'm not a writer. And they were like, well, you should. And so they helped me write it, part of it. And then they gave it back to me halfway through the middle. They said, they don't have time to help me finish that. Here you go. It's your book. And I was like, no, I don't know what to do with that. And COVID hit. And so I finished my book, and now I'm writing my second one, and now I write for all these platforms. So apparently I'm a writer. I had no idea.
Hey, sometimes you just stumble across it and it becomes a hit. So hey, nothing wrong with that. I mean, one book down, another one to go. I mean,
I'm loving it. I'm loving writing. I write blogs every week, or like articles to go along with my my podcast guests, and I'm loving it. And I just finished writing this. I wrote the script for my documentary, and we just sent the documentary off to editing. And who would have thought? I had no idea. That's crazy.
Hey, when you have an interesting story to tell, people will listen to it. That's for sure. So,
well, that's kind of my message. My message is, I talk a lot about the when I do my seminars, I talk about the I shoulda, woulda, coulda. So the people that I come across in my life who I webcam for, or I coach, because I coach couples, and who say to me, I wish I had gotten out of that job 20 years ago, or I shouldn't have stayed in that marriage just for the sake of the kids. Now I'm 60 years old. I'm starting my life all over again, and it's, kind of that message of don't wait till you think it's too late. Live your life for you. Just go with the flow. And you can't let people, you can't be judged, That's a big thing.
Yeah, if you have that idea that you think could be a hit, do it.
Do it.
Just go for it. As you're seeing what worked with you, just like, oh yeah, you should do this. Oh yeah, screw it.
When people read if the people read my first book is, it's there's sad things. I mean, I've gone through 2 major lawsuits. I've been put in debt, and things that if I go back, I would go, oh my God, I would never have done that again. Okay. But I think that those are the things that maybe, were thrown my way to test me, to put me where I am today, So, I developed a CBD personal lubricant. Now, remember, I'm the girl that doesn't smoke pot. So I knew nothing about CBD, but somebody said to me, you should do this. And I was like, that's a brilliant idea. So I started studying CBD and invested $20,000 to develop the CBD lubricant. And I had no idea that now I was trying to get a merchant account and insurance, and it's considered a medical device. And so nobody wants to touch it. And I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. So, I mean, it's like, whoa, yeah.
Yeah, you go through something as simple as that, where it's like, oh yeah, CBD. I mean, CBD is like the big thing these days. And yeah, CBD lubricant. I mean, you say you don't, smoke or anything like that. You're like, yeah, well, but yeah, you should do it. Yeah, sure, why not? Then you're like, oh, great. Now you find out, now you've dug yourself with this huge hole. Now
I have dug myself a huge. I mean, and I developed. That was 2 years project of trying to develop a lube that that I wanted. Something that wasn't sticky, something that didn't taste like crap. Something that was 100%, like you could actually eat it and not die. And I've got an amazing product, but it's been a challenge, that's for sure. I thought the adult industry was difficult to get a merchant account and insure. This is hard.
Now the CBD road. Now you're
yeah.
Now you're fighting that battle now. Where it's okay, you're fighting the adult industry battle. Now you're in the CBD world, and now that's a totally different animal.
Totally different. Yeah. So that's been a big challenge of mine. Running a swingers club. That just fell into my lap. That was dancing in a strip club, and the manager of the strip club said, hey, I understand you and your husband used to dabble in the swinger lifestyle. And I'm like, yeah, we did. We're divorced because of it. And he's like, okay, would you like to run a swingers event here? And I'm like, what? Like, what? And I knew nothing about it. And he said, the owner of my building will invest $50,000 in you. And I said, all right, where do I sign up? I'm ready. Let's do it. So.
But hey, that gives you a ton of credit that somebody can just look at you and know you for, I mean, I don't know how long you had known him before he brings up that offer.
Yeah, not very long.
Yeah. But if somebody's coming to you and saying, okay, we see you, just interacting with you sporadically or not very often, saying, okay, we want you to run this swingers club. We're going to invest $50,000 in it, and you're not out there actively constantly saying, hey, can I do this? Can I do this? And they're like, no, here, just you want to do it? Okay.
That's exactly what my seminars and my coaching is about. And that's what I want. That's why I share my story as many places as I can. And I want listeners to know, some people go to college to study something, and most people that you talk to aren't even working in the field of what they studied. And for me, everything that I've done, CBD lube, it's all been a challenge. Running a swingers club, working in the porn industry. This is nothing that, I was trained to do. I don't even watch porn. I don't even watch my own porn. Like, I really don't. I don't want to. No, thank you. But
you lived it once. You don't need to go back and
right?
look at it again. Yeah.
But it's all been like it's a lesson, you learn, and you learn what to do right and wrong. And so I thought, okay, maybe I was thrown all these obstacles and stuff because ultimately I'm now here to help people don't make the mistakes that I made. So number one, don't develop a CBD personal lubricant.
Unless you're prepared to
yes.
be fighting legal battles.
Exactly. Don't rent a 3,000. It's too good to be true. It's not. There's something wrong, right? A 10,000 square foot mansion for $3,750 by Korean people that barely speak English. Don't sign the lease.
Don't do it. It's not going to end well.
No, for sure. So that's kind of my situation. Yeah. So we'll see where I go from here. Who knows?
Yeah, and, hey, trust me, it doesn't seem like you're at any loss of any excitement in your world, or within the next few months that there'll be some other project or product that you'll be working on, especially now. I mean, now that you've jumped into the podcast world. I mean, what gave you why did you decide to jump into the podcast world?
Yes, because I think I was like on a site called XBiz. It's like a networking site for the adult industry, but it's everything from people that sell adult websites to products to toys to attorneys. It's just anything in our world. DMCA complaint attorneys and accountants and stuff like that. And somehow or another, I must have written somebody about a podcast because all of a sudden I was speaking with my current producer and he was developing a podcast for me. And so now, I've turned my office up. So my office upstairs is now a podcast room. I've got all this equipment, which means that I now actually do my other computer work downstairs in the guest bedroom, which is actually the webcam room slash swinger party room, playroom. It's crazy. My kids come into the house and they just shake their heads and I go, I'm sorry. I don't even know. Right? Crazy.
Just make sure you knock before coming in. That's it.
They won't even come in. I'm in the office and they're like, which one? And I'm like downstairs and they're like, nope. I'm like, you guys just get in here. I'll talk to you. Nope.
Yeah. No. You let me. You come out of there when you're done.
Yeah. They won't touch my phone. Like if I'm like, can you please help me with Snapchat? They're like, no ways. I'm not touching your Snapchat. So, oh goodness, yeah. I sometimes just sit here and I laugh and I shake my head. But my second book is really funny. So I'm doing my books are now a series. So my second book is all about things I have seen in the swinger lifestyle community, and I have seen some stuff.
I can imagine. I'm sure, especially being in the community yourself to begin with, and now running a club.
Yes.
So now you see the types of people that come in.
Oh, God.
and I'm sure in that case you hear all the complaints of people.
Exactly. It's like, oh my God. It is like, so the adult industry, to be honest with you, is very, from my experience, everybody's very moral and mature, and it's business. You show up to set, you know what you're supposed to do, you do your scene, you get paid, you're done. The swinger lifestyle community is like a sorority house times 20. Like, it's awful.
Yeah, but because in the swinger world, you're dealing with regular people and their own personalities and issues and feelings.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I try to teach people. That's exactly it. It's emotions. And you've got to learn, just like in the adult industry, you have to learn how to separate, your intimacy when you have a boyfriend and, you're sexually active versus when you're on set and you're shooting a scene. It's the same with the swinger lifestyle community. You've got to differentiate from, my husband and I, or my wife and I are here to spice up our marriage together, our time together, intimately, but yet you can't fall in love with the people that we call it playing with, don't get your emotions involved, because that's when there's problems.
Right. Then they come to you and say, oh, great, we came here, it ruined everything, and it's all your fault. It's like, well, I didn't do it. I'm running the place. You showed up here on your own. It's not like I forced you into it.
Right. Oh yeah, no. And then we get my whole thing about like be who you are and live your life for you. We get a lot of people that will show up at my parties and then like all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, that's my coworker, or that's my father. And I'm like, that's awesome. Go say hi. Like, it's one less person you have to hide it from, So I once hired, that's one of my favorite stories. I hired a 22-year-old girl to work the door for me. And she was young and I didn't really want to do it, but she needed a job and she was very mature and sweet. And she was at the front door and I was going to introduce her to some regulars. And they arrived and I said, hey, you guys, I want you to meet. And I turn around and she's gone. Can't find her. And they were like, who? And I'm like, my new door girl, but I don't know where she went. Long story short, she's heard I went to go find her. And I was like, what are you doing? And she goes, I can't go out there. And I said, yes, you can. You work for me. And she goes, nope, that's my dad. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. I have seen it all. That's good.
I was going to say, awkward. Okay. But hey.
By the end of the night, they were smoking a joint together and they were as happy as could be. So
see, look at this. You're bringing people together throughout this whole process.
There you go. Call my dad. Tell him that.
Yeah. Hey, bring him on. Let's talk to him.
Oh my God. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, so you're working on your second book now, and you said so there's gonna be more. The whole series is it all gonna be related to your life and your experiences?
So everything anybody reads in my book is 100% true. There's no exaggerations; they are true. So the first book really just kind of talked about my ice skating career and things that I had that I dealt with in skating, and then it went all the way through to working in a brothel and running a swingers club. And so now each series is going to focus on just one segment of that. So this one is about the lifestyle, the swinger community. The next one's going to be all about the adult industry, and the next one's going to be all about working in a brothel, like what that's all about. But I don't have a lot of time to write because I'm so busy with everything else.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, they're not going to be expecting it like quick. Some people can really churn out books fast if that's all they're doing is writing. But when you're doing a podcast, you're doing your own website, you're running a club, you're doing all these different things.
Yeah. And it's hard because a lot of the things that I do, don't make a living yet. And so you've got to do the things that still do make a living, webcamming, for example. I still webcam. I still work for Dr. Susie's Institute. I'm a therapist, a chat agent for her. I travel, I do seminars, the lifestyle coaching. I still shoot in the industry. And then the podcast and the articles for the podcast and the second book and the documentary, and I'm a wedding planner too, but I tried to get rid of that, but my PR person's making me bring it back. Ugh. So
well, I mean, hey, if you're that good, if people are asking for it.
Yeah. I got thrown in the wedding industry because somebody was like, God, you are really good at running swingers events. You should be a wedding planner. You'd think I would have said, no, I'm good. I've got enough on my plate. I was like, sure, why not? All right.
I was going to say, you would think they'd be two totally different types of events, but maybe not. I mean, I'm assuming if you jumped into it like that, I'm assuming you're going to tell me it's pretty similar.
That's what I said. That's what I try to say to people. They go, what is like a swingers event like? And I said, imagine that you're at a wedding with catering, with a DJ, dancing, security, walking around, entertainment, maybe party favors. And the difference is there's rooms if you want to go and have sex. Go for it. That's the difference.
Yeah. And not too much different from a wedding. If you're at a hotel, then people just kind of go their own way. So it's I think that's kind of what people don't understand, that whole aspect of the swinger club, where people just think it's just people going into a room, breaking off and having sex.
Right. And then there's so many that's the other thing I write about and I talk about is that, the variations of the swinger lifestyle community. It's not just a husband and wife having sex with another husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. There's the exhibitionists and the voyeurs and the illicit unicorn and the hot wifing and the cuckolding. And there's so many different variations to it. So, and it's interesting when somebody's a date, like I call them a vanilla. If they're vanilla my date at my party, they stand there and they just look and I'm like, what? And they're like, I can't believe you've had sex with all these people. And I'm like, I've had sex with none of these people. These are my guests. Like, no.
Yeah. Like, what do you think I'm doing here?
It's their initiation to get in, right?
Right. They got to go through you first before they can.
God, can you imagine?
That's it. When they walk through the door, they have to see you.
Yes.
Take care of business, and then if they pass the test,
yes.
they move on. They move on to the party. Otherwise, they're shown the door, and and say, okay, you got to work. You give them that list of, okay, like you said, you're about self-help, and okay, you have to work on these things
before you can come back again for another initiation.
Right. Yeah, here, take a few weeks. Okay, work on these. These were your strong points, but you failed on these 4 things. So I'm sorry, I can't let you in here tonight, but maybe in a month or 2 you come back and we'll try it again.
And then I see, just running my club, I see a lot of other lifestyle clubs doing, and I'm not going to say it on here because that's part of my tricks or my sneakiness, is that they're doing some crazy illegal stuff that they don't realize is illegal, until I tell them what can happen if they do. Like if you can't be sleeping with your guests, let's put it that way.
Right.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, there's kind of an ethics boundary at some point with it.
Well, yeah. So the joke at my club is that when somebody's like, "Can you ever get to play?" and I'm like, "I'll give you a blowjob later on. Can you just fix this for me?" And so somebody also yells, "She owes 8,432 blowjobs. You're the 43rd one, whatever."
Right. Add them to the list. All right. Don't worry. We'll get to you at some point. Just wait it out.
It's the joke of the club. It's like, don't worry, she just adds you to the list. And I'm like, no, you add them to the list.
Don't worry, somebody else would take care of it for you.
Exactly. Exactly. That would be perfect.
I was gonna say that's why you have people. That's why you're in charge of it. Then you have people working for you because you can divvy out those jobs to everybody else.
Oh my God, that's funny. I'm already my brain's turning. I'm like, who would I send where?
hey, if it works out, just don't forget where you heard it.
Exactly, there you go. Oh shit. Okay.
So I know you have a lot on your plate already, but what's next for you? what do you I guess what else? You already went through a lot of what you're working on, but is there anything else in the pipeline?
So, well, what we're doing right now is we're rebranding my entire. So right now I have, a CBD lubricant. So let's just call it, I have my products on one website. I have my coaching on another website, like my coaching and seminars and booking me. And then I have the podcast website with the articles. And then I've got the Swinger website. And so we're trying to put this all into one platform and rebranding me completely. And my ultimate focus is really, get my documentary out there, get my second book out there, and really focusing on my online coaching program. So you don't necessarily have to have a one-on-one Zoom session with me or in-person session with me, but you can buy my coaching and stuff like that, access to, my insider information, if you want to call it that, on online. So that's a big undertaking, all of that.
Yeah. It's a lot you have.
I do. It's crazy. I don't think I'll sleep tonight because I've got so much still on my to-do list.
Yeah. Well, if you need to get it done, just crack open that Red Bull vodka, and then for sure you won't be sleeping tonight.
This is true. I wonder if anybody left. I know there's vodka down there. I wonder if they left any Red Bulls.
I'm pretty sure if you dig deep enough, I'm sure there's got to be something good down there for you.
Funny.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with everything you have going on now, for what you're working on now, and with the documentary now, is that something that they're gonna do like a whole film crew with you and you sit down and talk about everything, or is it gonna kind of be
I did it.
Oh, okay.
So the documentary again, somebody came to me and said, I read your book and have you thought about putting it in a documentary? And I said, no, thank you. And they said, but you should. And I said, I can't. I've got so much going on. But we did. So I wrote the script and I hired the camera crew and the performers, and we've shot everything. Pretty much we've shot everything. The girl that plays me, she plays the younger me in my film. She was my old ice skating student when she was 10 years old, and she's now 30 years old. So that's kind of neat. But she had to go back to renew her visa in England and hasn't come back yet. And so because of COVID.
Okay. Yeah.
COVID. Yeah, so I've had to do a little bit of, we'll call it finagling and changing things around. And then, of course, all the content went to the editor, who then kind of backed out on his original deal. And so, again, here we go with another obstacles that have been thrown at me. But it's just been sent again to a new editor. However, I tracked it last night. It's supposed to go to New England and it's going to Texas. And so now we're trying to figure out why the hell it's going to Texas. So this is my life. I mean, it's just like, I just sometimes sit there, I shake my head and I go, really? Like, what next? Like, what else?
So I guess at this point, I guess you don't really have an ETA on when that will actually make its way out.
I have told this new editor that I would really, really like it out in 6 months. Okay. So I want my document released in 6 months. And it's the exact, it's not word for word for my book. Okay. But because we added stuff, but it is all true stories. And I've tried to cast as many people in it that actually play themselves in my film, and film it at the places. So for example, the scenes that take place at the ice rink take place in the rink that I started skating when I was 3 years old. The strip club is the original strip club that I started dancing at that my friend still owns, and he plays himself in my movie. So it's really actually pretty neat because it's not so much of a sit down interview documentary, you know, it turned out into like a film.
I was going to say that's what I think. At first when you're like a documentary, I was just picturing you sitting down talking, then going back and clips, and then here's the picture. Okay, here's the strip club. Here's the ice.
That would have been easier. No, we did a little twist on it, which I can't share, but we did a pretty damn good twist. But because we lost my skating student for the last 4 scenes that I really needed, those I have to do in documentary format because I have no other choice unless I can find somebody that looks like her and me, and that's just a pain in my ass. Yeah. So,
but it's interesting. I mean, I think how you did it with the twist you took on it. I think that will make it a lot more interesting to watch.
It's pretty good. We've sent it to my new editor. Again, life, things happen for a reason. I definitely believe in that. This editor he reached out to me on Facebook and said that he's been trying to get in touch with me. They want to cast me in their documentary. Okay. And he's got a lot of awards, like film festival awards. And so we've been talking about that simultaneously. My current editor says, I'm going to have to charge you this now. So I'm like, no. So I contact that guy and I said, hey, do you by any chance edit as well? And so we made a deal. He says, if you perform in my documentary, the one that he wanted to hire me for, he will edit my documentary that I made. So that's where we're at now. So it's crazy.
Well, hopefully you get it all sorted out soon, because if we can, you have me hooked on this story now of just really meeting you and chatting with you.
How did you find me? I don't even remember.
I don't know. I think somehow we connected through Instagram and the social media worlds, and everything just kind of, I don't know how everything blends together when you come across people.
Right? I know, it's crazy. You
never know how it works out. Then it's like, hey, okay, cool. You want to be on the podcast? Yeah, sure. Why not? Screw it. Why not? Let's do it. Just you get the word out there and you start promoting things as much as you can. So it's like, you come on here and you start talking about it, and I'm like enthralled in this now. I'm like, I got to see this thing now. I'm like,
you never want to say, what is that called? Toot my own horn or whatever, right? But
right.
The documentary it's pretty damn good. But now I've sent it to the editor. Now this is, he's won all these film festivals. So he's ultimately gonna, come to me and say this is awful, or he's gonna say, holy shit, this is really good. So if it wasn't in Texas right now, we would know shortly. But oh my god, I don't even know how. I contacted the camera guy. I said, where you sent two things, one to Texas, and he goes, shit, did they both go to Texas? And I go, apparently, because I tracked it and it's going to Texas. And he goes, crap, they will re-forward it to him. I'm like, oh my god, my life.
I know, just delaying it a little bit more. So hopefully by the end of the year, it will be done and ready.
Yes, and the book is almost my second book is. My publisher came over the other day and she looked at it and she says, you're ready. And this is how I am. I'm like, no, I'm not done yet. I still have to do this. Same thing that happened with my first book. This is what I tell people, your story's never going to be done. So if you're writing a memoir about your life, you better just put that into parts too, because it's never going to be done. So.
Right. Because you're going to say you're going to try to tweak everything. And okay, is this a good spot to stop or whatever? Yeah. But you're not really going to want to put a period on it at that point. It's like, okay, it's always a little to be continued.
Yep.
It's really
so working on that and the document. I don't know if I would do another documentary though. That was a huge undertaking too. That one and this lubricant.
Unless it's a huge hit, then people are saying, hey, we want another one. Then it's okay, they drive that dump truck full of money to your house. It's like, well, you would think, all right, I guess.
The way I work, people are like, I don't understand why you're not a multimillionaire. You work so damn hard. I do work so really hard. Someday.
Yeah, I know. It's I guess that's the hope we all have, right? You know, that like I said, you work on so many different things.
Yeah.
Wanting that, okay, one of them's going to be the, the big hit, and then you can scale back everything else.
Just to put my focus, because the thing too is like you to like hire a personal assistant, for example, right? Well, nobody's going to write my book like I write my book, right? Nobody's going to do my podcast interviews or my articles like I do them. It's my heart, it's mine, But like I have hired somebody to handle my social media. I have hired somebody to help me get the lubricant out there to different, dispensaries and adult stores and stuff like that. So where I can get people to help, I do. And computers, if there's anybody listening that wants to just be my live-in technical assistant, like I can cook for you.
There you go.
Oh my God. Gosh,
right. Well, exactly. I mean, when it's your own projects, it's your own story. You're the best one that can tell it. I mean, that's it. If it comes to, stuff where it's okay, post some pictures, do some things, write a little blurb here and there that you can kind of pass off. Nobody knows the difference. Then you can give that to somebody else. But
got a social media guy that's amazing. But I am also like that poor thing. There'll be like 80 messages a day in Instagram, like the private messages that he's got to go through and figure out, which ones are actually legit of somebody that wants me on their podcast or wants to be a guest, and then got to get that information over to me.
Then just garbage of some.
Oh God!
Who the hell knows what? I don't even want to know. I was gonna say.
That's another project we're working on. And if there's any other adult performers listening, screenshot every nasty thing these jerks send you, and we're putting together a coffee book, all of us together.
I've certainly seen what people have sent or said over the years, and certainly not envious of that part.
I responded to one today. Can I swear on your show?
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
So he says, you want to fuck me, right? And he keeps writing it. Like, you're so excited. So I finally wrote him back today, and I said, I've been waiting my entire life to fuck you. I'm so glad that you wrote me. Where do I find you? How do I get there? When? What time? And he writes back, and he's like, really? And I'm like, no, you dumbass. Come on.
It's like, yes, because you sending a DM on Instagram is your ticket in the door.
Yes. These men, boys, listen, don't do it. And don't send us your dick pictures. It's awful, especially when it looks like some of them. Oh my God.
Right. That's one of those I could never understand, where it's like, why do people think that? Okay, I'm gonna send this dick pic, and she's gonna love it, and then we're gonna have sex. It's like, I don't think that's gonna work. I don't think any woman has ever got that as the first message. It's like, oh yeah, come on over, here's my address.
But some of my divorced like mom friends, they're out on the dating market, and they're like, look at his dick, and I'm like, ew, did you ask for it? And they're like, yeah, I want to know what I'm working with. And I'm like, oh my God, like, and I'm totally opposite. I'm like, please don't send that. So to each their own. But
yeah. I mean, it's one thing if it's solicited and they said, hey, send it over, then okay, whatever.
Yeah, so, if they ask for it, if we ask for it, okay, then fine. But
right, yeah. But when you're just sending it blindly to everybody that you're following, it's like, dude, it's not going to work.
I actually have fun writing. Sometimes if I do pop into my social media, I write them and I go, this is her personal assistant, and I'm from Bangladesh, and I really don't care to see your penis right now, but thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate the offer, but no.
Exactly.
No, not at all. And now you're blocked. So see ya.
Oh yes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a crazy world we live in.
It is. And I give you a lot of credit for what you're going through there and what you're working on, because you got the shit ton of stuff on your plate. So hey, kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I forgot there's like 2 other projects I'm working on. I gotta write that down too.
You put them on the list. Don't forget about them. You don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and say, crap, I didn't do that.
Doing a tour about like what's the short version? Short version would be that there is not just shadow banning in social media, what do you call that? Profiles being taken down for adult industry performers, but they're actually starting to now, tell comedians what they can or can't say, tell wrestlers how they actually can or can't do their routines in the rings and stuff like that. And so it's like, everybody's trying to be controlled in their art and stuff. And so they've invited me to be on this tour now. So we're doing that.
Okay. Hey.
this thing. And then they found out I was an event planner and did trade shows, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to handle over?" Oh my God, no.
Please, pretty please. All right, sure.
For that, and then we're working on. I just had a meeting on Friday night for a series that somebody's doing, and they want me to be a part of that. So, I don't even know.
Wow. Yeah.
I think I'll have another beer.
I was gonna say, yeah. Take some time, crack open another one, and try to relax a little bit at least while you're going through the process.
I know, it's crazy.
But hey, Coralyn, it was great chatting with you. I appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Crack open a cold one, and just going over everything you have going on, even if it's just getting it out there and just letting you just kind of get crazy and just say, hey, this is what's going on. And sometimes even if you just have to talk it over and hear it yourself, and you're like, okay, this is all I have to do.
I don't know if I'm actually sitting here going, oh my God, like I'm crazy. I will tell you, if any of your listeners, the easiest thing's going to be, which is so nice now, is they just go straight to my website, which is it's Coralyn, Coralyn, Jewel, JEWEL.com. And that's going to have links to everything: the book, the lube, the podcasts, the articles, the coaching, the swingers club, everything. So that'll be nice. Hopefully a documentary soon.
That's just you got me hooked on that. I'm like, once this thing is out there, I'm gonna be like, okay, where can I find this? Where can I watch it? Because now I want to know. I mean, just hearing the bits and pieces of your journey, I'm like, this sounds like a damn interesting documentary to go through. So I'll be waiting for it.
I'm excited for it.
But hey, Coralyn, thanks again. Good luck to you with everything you have going on there. Hopefully you make your way through all the legal battles, the documentaries, and all that fun stuff. And once the documentary is out, maybe we'll have to have you back on here. We can break it down. We do like a little documentary movie review with you.
Absolutely, I would love that. Love that. All right. Thank you again for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yes, thanks again. I appreciate it. She is Miss Coralyn Jewel. I am Bumwine Bob, and until next time, cheers.
Cheers.
I need a beer.